to be doing a little fall picture. I'm going to be using soft pastels. I've got all my soft pastels here. I also have some pastel pencils for details. And I have paper towels so that I can rub things out and keep my fingers clean. So let's get started with our fall picture. I'm going to start with a combination of the blue of the sky and some oranges. And I'm going to sort of put some blue areas in and then come in with my oranges. And get a touch of red here. Don't want a ton of red, but just a little bit. Put that aside. Kind of work those together a little bit. And this is where I will need my paper towels, because as I get the different colors on, I don't want to mix too much together. You'll end up with just sort of a muddy gray. But I want to see some of that clouds and some sun and some sky in between all my tree colors. And I will add more colors to it. You can see I'm doing it very loose. That way I can add some yellows in, I can add some reds in, even a touch of green here and there. Right now I'm just sort of finding areas where my trees would be in the background. My paper towels is to keep my fingers clean. I can even use it to do a little blending, but right now it's just mainly to keep my fingers clean. I'm gonna add a little blue above those trees. And I may even take a little white, kind of smoosh it in right here, and then I'm going to add the blues around those and kind of bring it up into that area and make it look like some cloud. Maybe a little cloud is there. It's just kind of floating. A little more of the blues, maybe bring it more down. I'm going to take my red. Maybe there's something, small red bush or tree down here. And like I said, we can change these colors as we go along by adding others to it. I'm going to start with a little orange up here, and I'm going to go into my yellow, sort of a deeper yellow. And you've seen trees where one side is more yellow and you still got a little bit of the orange or bright reds on one side. And I'm going to back to my orange. Right next to that one, there's a bright orange one. And it's a smaller one. I'm going to take my paper towels, clean my fingers fairly good, and back to my blues. Some up along the tops, along in here. And then I'm gonna kind of outline up maybe a little cloud here. And then take some of that white, fill that in. The only reason I'm using the white is when I start blending, it does blend up in together. so you get that shadowed look on the bottom. There. A little more blue right in there. And maybe there's a big tree over here. Nice bright orange right here. A little darker than that one. And I'm going to add a little red, kind of as a divider between those two. I can even take a little yellow on this side. That kind of works as a separator between those two. Clean my fingers, blend a little of that yellow. So we've got our basic tree line. We're gonna darken some of those areas. We'll add more color to it. But basically this is sketching out where my trees are. Here underneath this one, I think I'm gonna add a yellow one. Gonna have like a second tree there. Some type of bush or tree growing along there. I'm going to take a little bit of my green. I think I'm going to do a middle green, and in here I'm going to add a few. This one hasn't fully dropped all its leaves. It still has some green in it and mixed in with that yellow. Come back, and I think I'll take my lighter green. I know mine's dirty. If I wipe it off, you can see it's a lot lighter yellow. Nice bright yellow down here. Come back with some of my darker yellows. Add a little, maybe there's some green grasses or something here. Back into, and you notice I'm trying to keep the different colors so that it looks like, so you can see the divisions between the different areas. And over here, oh, back to my yellows. Maybe even some of my greens. Darken this over here. All right, I think we've pretty much got our background. Looks like a little hill maybe here. I'm gonna start down here. I'm gonna take, let's see, how about, I'm gonna take some of my darker greens here. Maybe there's a little evergreen growing right in here. And I'm gonna take some browns. I think I'm gonna go with my little darker brown. In here, just a line here, there. I can actually use one of my darker browns in my pencils. It's got a nice point, so I can draw some nice, make it look like there's a trunk coming through here. And I've got, this is rolled paper, and it comes to a nice point. It's a nice little blender. You can get this at your art supply store. Go in and just touch that a little bit. I can come back in with some of my reds, darken a few areas. And I'm working in layers. You can see how some of that lighter is underneath and just barely touching. And I'm gonna leave some of that texture. Don't wanna down here right where the trunk is. A little few more. Here, I'm gonna draw a few. Maybe there's some sticks, twigs. And then here, you can see some branches coming out. And here's the trunk coming down, the main trunk, and it's sort of hiding behind that bush. And I'm gonna kind of do a little blending on that. Maybe there's another branch coming out here. A little arm. And we got a few twigs here. This one, we'll get a few coming through. We'll put that trunk in here. And maybe there's a branch there. Look for the open little spaces. Some here. And here, of course, we got a few branches, sticks. You can even go in, pick up a little, let's see, some green. You can even put some grasses in along there. So you can play around just slightly. And now we're going to come in some of that darker yellow and do the same thing like we did here. Add some deeper colors to it. Even come in with some of your bright, maybe on the edge where that sun is kind of hitting it. And then back to our darks. I'm going to even go over top of the trunk. I come in just a touch of the orange, just a little bit on the top on one side. Then I'm going to kind of touch just to sort of blend it in. This one, I'm going to do some of my and figure out which one you want in front. This one's in front, so you're gonna come over top of the yellow so that you can see it. Maybe this one, we're gonna add some red, some of that bright red, a little bit of orange on one side. There. And you may lose some of the branches, that's fine. Some of them will peek through. This one is basic red. Just a hint of orange on one side, just to give it a little different flavor. This one I'm going to take some yellow on one side. Then back, of course, to my orange, which is the main color. I actually have another lighter orange that I could even use on this side. And then, so play with color. Fall is a colorful time. We can play with all kinds of color. I'm going to take some of this darker, pull something up here, just little lines of grass or something. And then some of the lighter. Same thing here. Go back to my darker ones. So, and then here, of course, our last tree. Go back to my oranges. I think I'm just going to leave that bright orange. Maybe just dull it down a little bit. All right, we've got a nice background going in here. I'm going to go back to my blues. I'm going to deepen some of the sky colors. I'm just kind of adding a little bit in. This time I'm trying to stay away from my trees for the most part. Now remember here we had a little bit of clouds, so I'm going to come down here with the sky a little bit, maybe on there at the bottom. A little bit on top, coming down. I'm going to leave that little bit of white in there. And maybe another cloud here. Underneath. Over top. And we can come back in with our white. Kind of fluff these up. And I'm pushing real hard with this. And I'm just scrubbing that cloud in, maybe a little puffer over there. All right, that looks good. I like that. Let's blend this a little bit more. And I lost a little bit of the red here. So you can go back in, just add that. All right, now we gotta decide what we want down here. Do we want water? Do we want a nice meadow, a pasture? How about maybe a little stream coming in? I think I like that idea. Maybe right here. There's a little stream coming in. I'm just kind of outlining it a little bit. And just kind of giving me a basic idea where it's gonna be. I'm not worried about it right now. All right. Oh, I'm gonna start with our grass areas. I got some greens. It's still got some basic greens in here. But I'm gonna come in with some of my yellows as the grass is starting to change. As the season's changing with it. I'm even gonna grab some of my darker greens right in here. Maybe it's a little more shadow back in there. I'm going to come back. Basically, I'm covering some of the ground here. And I'm just kind of doing some of the background colors. That one a little bit taller. Make that come down a little bit further. Maybe down to there. Yeah. All right. And underneath, of course, I'm going to pull some of that color out as a shadow. And we've got our yellows and our greens. Might even be a little bit of orange in there. And we can even make that tree bigger if we decide to let it get a little taller. All right. And here's that little creek coming down. And it just kind of runs off the edge of the paper there. And I keep those lines fairly straight. These can come down like it's coming down a hill, or right, but the water I want to kind of keep straight. And we'll go in and add more color to it. All right, on this side, we're going to add a little green under here. And like I said, so I'm just adding color now, just getting rid of mostly the white of the paper. Maybe down here it's a little deeper green. Let's add some yellows, maybe a little orange in there. And same over here. Where's my deeper? All right. Basically, we have our paper covered. And I know it looks a little messy right now, but we're gonna come in, just like we did with the trees, we're gonna add more color. All right. And this, I think I'm gonna make that a little bit, just down the bottom a little bit. Here, I'm gonna add a few red spots down here. Maybe some of the leaves have fallen. We don't know. All right, I'm taking a little bit of brown. Maybe there's something back here that some old hay or grasses. And here we're gonna come set those down. All right, where's my blue? Here's my stream coming out. I'm gonna take some white. Where's my brown? I'll take a little bit of lighter brown, maybe along the shore. This side is a little bit of dirt or something, a little sand or rocks or something along that side. All right. It's looking good, I think. I'm gonna take a bright green here. Maybe there's still a few areas where there's some brighter grasses out here. The sun is hitting it. And back in underneath here, I'm gonna add some taller, darker grasses and some middle. Here, even a little bit of the yellows in here. Maybe there's a patch of sunlight showing. And that patch of sunlight comes right out through there. A little darker greens. And that's looking good. Okay. So we got that. Let's work on this side, same thing. Gonna take some of the oranges. Can even draw up a little bit. Back to my greens. I'm pushing a little bit harder, get it a little darker. Forget my water here. There, and there's some of that little bit of brown. Let's put some on this side. A little stream is coming there. Maybe we got some grasses. In fact, I'm gonna go back to my pencils. Pull some grasses along that shore. Maybe even going into a little bit of yellow orange. Make it look like something growing along the shore there. Can do the same thing here. Some little weeds or reeds growing up. And we'll just keep working forward. Maybe here. Let me get my darker brown. Maybe there's a rock here. There's a couple of them. And on top of that, I'm going to take a little bit of the yellow for some highlight. And on top of that, let me get my pencil. This is where the pencils come in handy. A little bit of the white and kind of give it a little highlight. So we got some rocks there. And I'm even gonna take, my little black, and underneath, kind of darken it a little bit as if there's a shadow or something underneath. We've got some little rocks there going along. I'm gonna take a little more of the white across the top of that one. So we have a few stones along the shore. There's the brown here. A little sand or something. We're gonna put some grasses here. And then I'm gonna take my yellow. And you don't really see the yellow, it's over top of the green. It just sort of lightens it up and gives it a little different look. You can even take of the black, not much. I don't want black grass, I just want a little something dark underneath, a little shadow. And of course there's another rock, there's a couple more, maybe a big one there. Let's come back. I'm going to darken underneath with a little bit of the black, and of course top's gotta have highlights. I'll find a sharp corner there. And then the white. Some highlight on top of those. And of course, we're gonna put some grass up around those. Where's my blue for the water? That stream can come out a little ways here and then jog back in. And then there's my white. So our stream is coming down. We've got little rocks and stuff along the way. Let's work on some of our grasses here. This one's kind of coming down. Let's see how it's maybe forming a hill. And I'm going to take a little yellow across the top, little highlight where the sun might be hitting it. And I'm going to pull some grasses. Something growing along there. So it isn't just flat. Right in here, I'm gonna just take, maybe a little bit of that. Just a little sunlight hitting in there. And I can bring that in. Bring that in a little bit. And we just keep working our way forward. Same thing on this side. This I'm kind of going up and down, almost as if we've got a little meadow over here where there's different tall grasses growing. I'm going to take some of this, different colors, some of the yellows. Highlighting some of them. And maybe I'm going with some of my darks. The darks are just right on the bottom, little short strokes, more of a shadow color. All right, come back in, get some more of my greens. Put a streak of yellow right in here. Yeah. Let's see. Maybe here there's some kind of little red bush. Or some type of grass growing here. Just, I want to add some color, just a little color. Same thing over here. We'll add a little orange in here, just to give it the colors from back here. It's fall. Things are changing. Even the grasses are starting to turn colors. All right. We keep working our way down. And in here, we got the yellows, and a little bit of our darker greens. And that green runs right up to that water. And where's a little shoreline here. And over here, we gotta figure out where our water goes. Same thing here. Maybe there's a big rock here. There's a couple big rocks here. And I do have larger black for the bottom of that rock. And there's my white for the top. And let's kind of do a little light blending. And then here, some smaller pebbles along here, and we even have a brown. And then my white. And I'm pushing very hard, just kind of giving it a highlight on top. And we've got, of course, our grasses are growing up amongst this. We can even put a few in front. And clean my fingers a little bit. Kind of pull those up just a smidgen. So we got some nice little rocks there. All right, I stopped for a second, cleaned my fingers off a little bit. Now we got to decide, do we have what we need here? I do have a mat. Stand back, look at your painting, look at your picture, put it over there. Do we need something else? We got the rocks here, we got this, maybe a tree. You decide what you want. Let's go ahead and put a small tree in. We'd worked so hard on those background trees, we don't want to lose them. But maybe up front we have a tree that's lost its leaves, or maybe only has a few on it. Let's see, over here we can bring one up, and there's the branches. And of course we got to make it a little bit wider. Got to give it at least a trunk to stand on. And with the pencils, it's so much easier to draw the branches. And you can make them wider. Just kind of go over. And it kind of pushes everything back into the background. We can even bring it across the creek a little bit. And that pushes that back. I mean, if you want to put some leaves on it, a few, but I like those background trees there. In fact, you know what we can do? Down here, we can add a little color. Make it look like the leaves have already fallen off this tree and they're sort of gathering up around the base of the tree. Let's get a little bit of the yellows. Back to my reds. And they're kind of drifting over towards the water. We can even have one floating out among the water here. A couple out there floating. And let's take, where's my white? Maybe on this side. Just give it a little highlight. And find my green, just bring up a few grasses on the bottom, sort of set its feet down. I think we have a finished painting. Let me find my red. We can sign that. I think I'll sign it right, oh, maybe here. And we have a nice finished painting. Let me get my, and if we bring it over a little more this way, we can see our rocks. And put that in here, you can see it's a little bit, just, you can fix that easily. Add a little more color over here. You can see the trees here, maybe a little green. So you decide where your frame goes, if you want it further out, further in, but I think we have a nice painting. Hope you enjoyed that one.